there obviously a lot of impression that you might be able to see her return.
Oh yeah. We're a time travel show, of course. While there are no immediate plans for that, we would definitely love to have Jessica back. She was terrific on the show, just a blessing to join us, and we do have some weird hints this season that you may or may not pick up about how she might return. So keep an eye out for that.
Tornado twins, you're saying?
No, I'm not saying a word.
The show took some criticism last year for stretching a villain out over the whole season that maybe couldn't have, some people thought he couldn't have supported the whole season.
Yes.
How are you guys addressing that this year? Because the villains have always been the strong point of the Flash universe.
Two ways. One, I would say come to our panel later. Two, I think Crisis is helping us address this problem of having one long big bad over such a long period of time, because Crisis happens kind of in the middle of the show, right, in the middle of season 6. So it divides the season into really kind of 3 parts. Pre-Crisis and all of the dread and the leading up to what's going to happen, how do we deal with this emotionally? It's heavy-duty stuff, right? Then Crisis itself happens and occurs, that kind of tent hole we've been driving to for 5.5, 6 years. But what happens when we don't have anywhere to drive to? What is life beyond post-crisis? There are no limits. So now the story can go into crazier, weirder, and I think more exciting, dramatic places. So look for that this year.
So the original comic Crisis was a reboot.
Yes.
So are you planning on rebooting things as well?
I think reboot only in a minor way. You know, we're not getting rid of any of our wonderful characters. We love our cast so much, but what it does allow us to do post-Crisis is to change the rules of what Flash episodes can look like, of what villains we might be able to have. Villains that wouldn't have existed before now have a place on the show to come in really weird and unexpected ways. So it's not a reboot, but I do think it's opening. It's not even opening up the doors. We're kicking the doors open, because I'm a comic book guy. There will be more comic bookiness this season. I think that's fair to say.
How does Nora's sacrifice affect the West Down family? Is it going to be tension, or is it going to kind of bring closer together?
Nora's death will bring everyone closer together, especially Barry and Iris. And they have to deal with it immediately, right up front, as soon as the season begins, especially in a season when they are facing an equally or even greater cataclysm, which is Crisis itself. So you've got Barry and Iris dealing with really 2 things. How do I deal with the death of my child? And how do I save the world from Crisis while doing that? It's a multi-layered, emotional kind of storyline that I think Candace and Grant so far are just knocking it out of the park.
I'm sorry.
I'll go.
I'm sorry.
I was really, one of the things I really loved about last season was sort of, I felt like the show figured out a better way to kind of integrate Killer Frost and her journey into kind of like the overall season. Where do you, now that it feels like she's a little bit more part of the team, where do you see her going? Her and Caitlin, I guess. I never know whether to refer to them as 2 separate people or like 2 halves of a person.
No,
but yeah, where is that all going?
Well, then you're going to be very happy in season 6. Season 6 is a huge season for Killer Frost. We've spent 5 years basically developing Caitlin. And, you know, she's lived, she's loved, she's had, you know, fiance, she's gone through all these sorts of things. What has poor Killer Frost had? It's time to get her up to speed. So I'm really looking at this as almost the season of Killer Frost in many ways. Not that we won't see Caitlin, obviously.
So we've seen the new Killer Frost costume.
Hey, this will be last question, please.
You better go.
So you kind of mentioned a moment ago that you guys have been building to Crisis since pretty much the first episode.
Yes.
What is it like you guys have been running the show? You finally reached it. What is that like to we finally get to do this?
Great relief. We're finally getting to the thing that we promised everybody 5.5 years ago. And as I kind of mentioned before, the wonder of what's after Crisis. There are no more rules anymore. Now we can unleash the comic book geekery in a way we were never able to before.